Hello and welcome to Center's Cardcast, your one-stop podcast shop for all things hockey cards. My name is Eric Andrews, also known in the hobby as Hammerhawks, and I'm joined by my co-host and fellow hobbyist Aaron Goldstein, better known as Crease Collector. So this episode will primarily kind of be a little bit different in that we will largely go backwards today from kind of our normal pace. So we actually will start with some mail. Aaron has a couple things to show off, but after that we'll actually do a box break followed by a hobby conversation followed by one pretty notable piece of mail.
Decent.
Yeah, Aaron, kick things off with your recent pickups.
Okay. So I wasn't going to show these cards. They're just small inserts that I got about a week ago from the Series 2 released from the SHL. And it's the from the Power Play set, just a simple insert card there. So pretty cool of your guy, Jonas Enroth. And then the second one, Eric is laughing because I just wanted to sneak these two in there. The second one is also from the Power Play set. And the cool thing about these cards, for one, is they're just a small 9-card team set, and then the backs are, a piece of the logo. And then if you obviously combine all 9 into the puzzle, the backs will show a team logo set. So these were made up of 6 players, and then a jersey card, not a memorabilia card, but a jersey card. It would show the home and away jerseys of that team. It would be along with a head coach card and a team arena card. So I actually managed to, as soon as I saw this card, I was like, okay, it's a team arena card. But then upon closer inspection, I'll show the card here. It's from Bern Arena, where Orbro plays. I've actually visited this arena myself. And I actually added this one because if you can look very closely, Enroth is in the card, which is really cool. So for those who don't know, I also collect, I guess people call them different things, but, shadow cards or primarily cameo cards as they're known. So I saw a player collector do this a couple years ago, and I had never even thought of doing that. Shout out to Brett, the big Linden collector. I know he's frequented this pod before. I'm actually going to tell him to listen to this episode right after the fact, just so he can know what he created in me, So another cameo card. I have about, close to, like, with parallels and stuff like that too, which is an extra level of insanity, which I love. Probably around like 30 or so cameo cards of Enroth. So I actually do add this one into my collection count because unlike the other cameo cards, usually they're associated with a particular player, where it's a player's card and Enroth is sort of in the background or something like that. So it is dedicated to a certain player that's not him. But on these cards that are kind of like team cards, similar to last episode where I found that Chicago Blackhawks card from Panini score for Eric's Jalmerson collection, which he may or may not add. I think it'll just get a spot at the back of the box. Just he'll revisit it in like 20 years being like, oh yeah, that exists. But you know what? It's in there, and those are sort of in progress on their way to him right now. So anyway, so this one will get an unofficial spot in the collection because I think it's really cool. And when I get to 90 years old and I forget, I actually did write on the back, it's an Enroth cameo card. So just so my 85-year-old brain can actually remember why I have this card, because at 85, nobody's seeing that closely on a card. Like, that is the smallest cameo. Brett's probably going to confirm the smallest cameo you've ever seen on a card. So I wasn't going to share these cards. Eric's probably thinks it's ridiculous, but I wasn't going to show them, but I just thought, you know what, why not? They're small, cheap little insert cards, but I think they're great. So those are my 2 cards. They will definitely not hold any sort of candle to Eric's mail day later in the show this time, but just wanted to show those two cards off.
Yeah, well, some of you might have noticed the weird hand gestures I was doing earlier. I was grasping at straws. So
Yeah, that's what I was doing in my collection. So I was doing exactly that.
yeah, but I certainly appreciate and respect the borderline psychotic dedication that you have to finding new pieces for your Enroth collection.
Well, I mean, it goes a step or two further, not upwards, just deeper into like insanity, where there's also checklist cards that reference the player as well, which is super crazy that I've actually done that as well, parallels and all, when I can find them. So I actually added another one, a parallel, not too long ago. So anyway, shout out to 1213 score check or OPG checklist, red border. Yeah, so just crazy. Again, I saw a player collector do that years ago, and I'm like, I hate it, but I'm in. Like, I got to do it. It's just got to do it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, something like that. Then you've got, the retro blank backs of that.
Well, that I made a rule. I haven't seen one, but that I made a rule. I'm like, you know what? The majority of the checklist cards, it just falls, it just falls on that side where Enroth is on the back of the checklist. So any blank backs would kind of erase the fact that I need this card. But there's probably about maybe one or two that he's on the front facing portion. So I haven't seen one. I've seen them, like I know they exist, but I haven't seen the one I need in a blank back variation. So that to me is crazy. I told myself, no, I won't do it unless he's on the front. But I don't know. Even if I saw one, I would still feel probably weird about it. But let's be honest, I would buy it.
Just be grateful that he left the NHL before the days of the red blank backs. The one of ones.
Yeah, that to me would just be like a one of one, like a normal one of one. Still, like I kind of like the older blank backs, but yeah, like that was interesting. But I was thinking about this the other day, sort of, make this portion long, but I was looking at my collection, and for those who remember, I spoke about that Swedish shield that I talked about a couple of episodes ago, and so I published an article about that. You can go and read that on my site, and it's just going through the historical kind of significance of the card and the emblem and everything. Is really cool. But I was kind of looking at my collection like as a whole, and I'm like all this cool stuff never would have happened if he stayed in the NHL. So and I know with the pandemic and everything and production going crazy, a lot of people got cards, and a lot of people got, if they were in certain sets, got a ton of cards produced. So maybe he would have got, maybe a little less cards, maybe around the same amount. Who really knows if he stayed in the NHL? But honestly, I'm just glad the way it kind of shaped up. That it's such a well-rounded collection, and I love that. I wouldn't have it any other way. And I was thinking a lot about it this past week, and I mean it. It's really like having an NHL career is a privilege, and to have it for X amount of years is great, and to have half your career in the NHL, half of it in Europe, getting all these cool cards. It's as a card collector, it's so cool. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like probably a lot of people, Al included, hello, Al, there's not all these European cards of Jarome Iginla, for example.
No.
So, I mean, it's really cool that you are able to have that variety in your collection, because that's really not something that a lot of us really get to enjoy. I mean, maybe, like last time I showed off that oddball Slaven Olympic card that was made in Latvia, like maybe you have something like that, but to have, full on product lines where your players featured, and now you have this with the KHL, the SHL, like you've got a very diverse collection from over the years.
It's really cool, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's awesome. Anyway, I'll cut myself off. So
cool. So we'll put a pin in the mail segment of the show, and we'll come back to that later. But for now, we will switch over to 2526 SPX, which of course just came out recently. So we've got a box of that, compliments of Upper Deck. And I will say I've watched a little bit of, some box breaks and stuff like that, and the cards look fantastic. Like the designs are really nice. The technology of the cards pop really well. I know there's a lot of, like acetate cards that kind of have almost like that rainbow hollow,
Yeah, I agree.
Thing going on with them. So the cards look awesome. One thing to note is there pretty much is not any memorabilia in the product. You can get memorabilia cards as update cards, but as far as actual 25, 26 cards, there's no memorabilia. So you are looking for those parallels, you're looking for the inserts, you're looking for autographs. So that's kind of what it is. And even that, it really is more so focused on the parallels and inserts, because autographs are 1 in 5 boxes. So it's 3 cards per pack, 8 packs per box. You typically get, I think, maybe 2 or 3 numbered cards per box. Actually, I think it says at least 1, but I feel like most boxes usually have 2. So
yeah, somewhere around there.
So yeah, we will dive on in here. I would love to get any Jacob Slavin cards, of course, even if it's just a base card. And I would also really like to get one of the 34.5 pounds insert cards, which are one of those acetate hollow cards, but of course is a play on the Stanley Cup. So those cards are really, really cool. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we will start off. Here's the base card design.
Those look great. Yeah, I love the designs. I haven't been the biggest fan of SPX over the years, just to be honest, but this year it definitely caught my attention. Not just saying that because Upper Deck gave us a box, but yeah, it's just so cool. Like, look at that. Just that waviness through the card just looks just so cool.
Yeah.
Like almost like smeared kind of in there. Just like, I don't know how to explain it. It just looks so cool. So yeah, the cards. Hey, Josh, hopefully you got my package okay, Josh, for Eric. Nothing too major, but yeah, hopefully that made its way to you. But yeah, those cards look great. So hopefully you pull a Slavin. Have you pulled a Slavin base in any of our
Yep.
breaks?
Yeah, it's been a little while, but I have pulled
Yeah,
some.
I guess it has been.
So yep. As well as Bernie, good evening. So yeah, the base cards have that like bronze foil on them, and then we also have a silver parallel of Kotkaniemi, so you can see the foil change in color. And just the colorway is a little bit
that's cool.
More silvery on the parallels there.
It's like a Slavin fake out there.
yeah, 2 Hurricanes cards. Then we also have a finite of Marco Rossi, numbered out of 999. So the blues are the basic version of them, and then the serial numbering is up there. So there's our first pack. Yeah, I mean, as you guys saw, the base cards look fantastic. So we've got a base of Brady Tkachuk. We've got a silver of Bo Horvat. And our head of the pack is an Excellence Redefined. These are really nice looking in person, of Austin Matthews and Macklin Celebrini.
Oh, wow. That is really nice. Good combo to get for sure. That's awesome.
Nice. Yeah. And then it's hard to see. Let me hold up
the
back of a pack here. You can see in the acetate part, there's a photo of the 2 of them.
That's cool.
Playing each other. So yeah, very, very cool card there. And obviously two really good names. And it's a little hard to see on this camera, but you can see it kind of that rainbow effect in the middle. So a lot of the acetate cards kind of have that hollow refractory type of look. So
what are the odds on those ones?
That's a good question. Let's take a look here. I know a lot of the so they're in a category that combined to fall 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But on their own, they're probably 1 per box, I would say.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, but definitely very cool cards. So let's see what else we've got here. We've got another Hurricanes base, not the right one, of Logan Stankoven. Got a silver of Ryan Ufko, a rookie. And we have a game film of Kyle Connor.
Nice. Those are really cool.
Yeah. So another one of those acetate hollow-ish inserts. So very cool. Let's see here. Moving on to pack 4, which will be our halfway point. All right. We've got a base of Mikhail Sergachev. We have got I think this is just a base rookie of Brady Martin. Good name there. Then we have a Hollow View. Actually, we have 2 cards here. I don't know. I think that's I don't know. I've seen 4 card packs before, but we've got a Hollow View FX of Zach Hyman.
Nice.
These are just the basic version. And then to contrast that, we have a Hollow View FX. I think this is the blue parallel, numbered out of 399 of Michael Misa.
Nice. Okay. That's awesome. Really
so you
cool.
Can see behind him is kind of blue tint, but
a lot of creative technology in this release. It was very thought out, very thoroughly. Like, hey, let's do something different and make it pop.
Yeah, so I mean, all of these cards look spectacular in person. Like they, very, very nice cards, and like you said, I think the intention was to really lean into the, make really nice cards, like focus on the technology and everything. And it clearly, shows. So, got a Alex DeBrincat base. We have a base rookie of Ryan Green. Then this is a nice one here. We've got another Hollow View FX for the New York Islanders of Matthew Schaefer.
Okay, hey, there we go. That's awesome. Nice. It's one of the good names.
It's the guy you're looking for.
Of course. That's awesome. What a great card.
Yeah, very, very nice card for sure. And even sometimes I feel like acetate is almost like these are still flimsy, like you can see what bends, but this almost does kind of feel like a little bit more substantial of an acetate than a lot of, like even just like a flagship clear cut card, for example. So I don't know if they might be slightly thicker, but it's kind of interesting there. Let's see here. Moving on to the next pack, we have got a base of Cole Caulfield. We've got a base rookie of Sam Renzel. So I certainly approve of that one. Then we have another. We are just hitting all the Hollow View FX cards here. We have a Hollow View FX blue parallel, numbered out of 399 of Steven Stamkos.
Nice. That's a great one.
Still,
so many hollows.
Yeah. I mean, they're great looking cards, so I'm not complaining at all. But it will never not be weird seeing him as a Nashville Predator. Like that just looks so wrong.
It does.
So 2 packs left here. We'll see if we can get an autograph or something else. We've got a base of Mikko Rantanen, a base rookie of Ian Moore, and we do have an autograph, and that's a decent one there. We've got a Superscripts autograph for the Dallas Stars of Wyatt Johnston.
Nice. Okay. Good to hit an auto.
Yep. Certainly not a bad name there at all. So that's a nice hit there. On to our last pack. See if we can get a Slavin base card, a 34.5.
I think you do hit a base card.
That would be great. No Slavin, unfortunately, but that's okay. We've got a base of Jake Gensel. We've got a gold parallel of Sam Colangelo. As you can see, the foil is a little bit different there compared to the bronze, more of a true gold there. And then we have our final card of the box. We have a finite purple parallel, numbered out of 99, of Logan Stankoven.
Ooh, I like the purple. It's awesome. Something you don't see too often.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, so many Carolina Hurricanes.
I know, just not the right guy, but that's okay. But yeah, I mean, there's so many really nice cards in there. I mean, the duel of Matthews and Celebrini is super cool. I know Al said the game film card is super cool. And then, all of the Hollow View FX cards are super cool. And how can you go wrong with Mr. Schaefer there? And then, of course, we got the autograph of Wyatt Johnston as well. So Yeah, all in all, I would say that was honestly a pretty nice box of SPX, given that you're not guaranteed a hit or anything like that. I would say that was a pretty solid box with
Yeah,
some
not
good
bad at
names.
all.
So, um, yeah, absolutely. It's really nice foil choices, and purple's my favorite color, so I'm always a sucker
Purple's
for
my favorite color too.
a
That's why we
good.
started the podcast. It wasn't about hockey cards. It was like, is your favorite color purple? Yeah. What's yours? Purple. Let's start a podcast. That was it. That's how it went.
Pretty sure that's how it went.
And then our first episode where they're like, oh, you like hockey cards too? Oh, wow. This is just getting better and better.
What are the odds?
Originally we were going to call it the Purple Pod, but then
we can
found out
rebrand,
we could rebrand. But then the first kind of pilot episode, we're like, oh, we both like hockey cards. We got to change it. So anyway, as Metal Brand.
Yeah. So, hey, and Bernie's in on the purple train too. So love that.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that's 2526 SPX. We will now transition to we should do more of these. Honestly, I know these are always kind
topics.
of the favorite episodes. People hearing us talk about different topics, and even just for us talking about stuff.
It's fun.
This was a question that Aaron posed after our last podcast. And we were just like, yeah, like, let's talk about that. That'd be fun. So, Aaron, I will turn the floor to you to introduce and start discussing this topic.
Definitely. Okay. So I'm sure you guys in the chat or you guys listening to the pod, a couple of days from now or whatever it is, probably been in the same scenario as me. So a couple of days ago, I mean, I've thought about this many times, but a couple of days ago, I guess, or so after our last episode, I was just thinking about this, and I was thinking, I was going through the want list and, just thinking about the cards I needed once again for the 1 millionth time, because recently what kind of sparked this was I lost out on a card that I hadn't seen in 16 years. Like I hadn't even seen a picture of it at all. I didn't even know it existed. It was the OPG Premier triple signings of Grant Fuhrer, Ryan Miller, and Jonas Enroth. It was just like sort of, the base version. And for those triples, the base versions were out of 15. And I've owned the gold version out of 5 for years now, but I've never seen the out of 15. Same goes for the, I call it the sweetest version of same thing, a triple signings card, same set of Jonas Gustafsson, Henrik Lundqvist, and Jonas Enroth. Same thing. I have the out of 5. I've never seen the out of 15. So that set was super weird and a lot of conflicting information. Some checklists have those 3 listed on the checklist. Others don't. I've seen another version of the checklist that have other players have only the gold out of 5 was made. Others only the out of 15 was made. Super weird. Some of them both were made. So it's so weird. This set, I had no idea. So I just assumed that the out of 15s just didn't exist. And, the other day I was going through eBay sold listings just on a whim, because sometimes I like to, punish myself with seeing cards that maybe have sold kind of underneath me without me knowing or seeing the listing and being really sad about it. So, it's kind of like a roll of the dice every time you check sold listings. But a couple times, I've been there where, and there's a lot of rain right now. There's a ton of rain. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that, but there's a ton of rain. It is pouring. Anyway, so yeah, had no idea it existed and checked sold listings, saw the card and saw that it sold back when I was looking for it, like about a month earlier. So I was like, part of me was relieved because I'm like, oh, it does exist. That's awesome. And, the story gets weirder. The guy who sold it has like no feedback as a seller, or the one he does. Sorry, he has one feedback as a seller, but it's a terrible negative feedback. The guy complains about getting scammed. So I don't know if this card is his. I have no idea. But yeah, who knows? So I don't even know if that card got shipped out to the guy who bought it. I don't know if it's going to get relisted. I have no idea. Even if it does get relisted, if I buy it, will he sell it to me? I don't know. Like, will he ship it? No clue. So it's so weird. So the one guy who has it sells it, and it might be a scam. It might be but there's a picture of it, and I'm like, oh man, I've never seen a picture of that before. So I'm like, man, this this sucks so bad. So finally, okay, I'll get on with my point. So finally, I was thinking, I'm like, if I could snap my fingers, just snap my fingers, just and every card on the want list, and I'm talking as a player collector. I know there's tons of set collectors out there, team collectors, but I'm just talking to player collectors out there. So, if I could snap my fingers and have every single card on the want list in my collection tomorrow, would I do it? It would save a lot of frustration, or that weird heartache where it's like, oh no, like a car sold and I didn't even have a chance at it. It's one thing getting beat, but there's another chance, times where you get it just gets swept out from under you. You don't even have a chance, right? So that's always frustrating. But I asked myself, would I snap my fingers tomorrow and have that card along with every other card that I have on my want list? And so I've kind of debated on it, because there's so many cards like the one I described that I've never seen a copy, and just knowing it exists is cool. But I would just love to have it, and just the story behind it, that I could share it with you guys, and write about the card, which is some of my favorite things to do, and just personally just look at the card and just know kind of the story that went along with it, of just waiting 16 years and having it swept out from under me, and maybe one day finally finding it, and this will be part of that kind of origin story of how you eventually came to get the card. Maybe not that copy specifically, but you know what I mean, right? So it got me thinking, like, would I do it? And probably the answer is no, because everything that I just explained about this story, and if I one day own that card, or one like it, it'll make it that much more sweeter, and there'll be a story forever attached to that card. And that's what, at least for me, especially as a, player collector who, we talked about, who left the NHL like 10 years ago, and doesn't have as much cards as anyone else. Part of it, what makes this collection so awesome is the stories that I can kind of put behind these cards. Whereas, say, and I think Slavin is coming up on that point, but guys like Slavin, or guys like, pick a Hall of Famer, where they have so much cards out there. It's just like a waterfall of cards. They're not always going to have that origin story. I mean, you can go on ComC. I mean, I know you like to stock up, Eric, but you can go on ComC and start to stock up, Slavin base or inserts, and then, acquire so much. And then a year from now, have this whole bunch of new cards. But yeah, they're awesome cards, and it'll be great to, scratch off the list, but, they don't have that much of an origin story. And I think it gets harder and harder, to get that once your guy has that much cards. But, with a guy like myself who, doesn't have that much cards, once it gets down to it, some of these cards were really hard to acquire years later, and they come with a really cool origin story, which I really love. And so, yeah, just back to the original point, would I snap my fingers to complete my collection? No. But, as a primary, player collector, that would be my answer. But I'm also trying to complete the 300 Win Club set and the Belfour, which I was just sharing, some cool Belfour cards with Eric before we came on the show. But the Belfour 300 Win Club card is the last one I need to complete the set for the jersey versions only. I'm not going after the patch variations. I can't do that. It's too expensive. But the jersey version. So, yeah, that maybe I'd snap my fingers to complete a set. Okay, sure. But again, I'm not primarily a set collector. I'm a goalie collector, and then obviously a player collector with the Enroth cards. And as far as the completionist player collecting thing goes. So yeah, exactly. Just like your comment said, yeah, the fun is in the chase, and the story behind getting the card means more than just having it handed to me. Exactly. And don't get me wrong, like, there's cards that have just been, quote unquote, handed to me, both either for free, which is awesome. Thanks for your generosity. And two, both transactionally, hey, I want this card. Cool. Here's the card. And they're awesome cards. And just the fact of what they are, whether it's their rarity or the design or whatever it is, or the memorabilia piece on it, that alone kind of creates its story. Cool. Awesome. But there's other cards that just, I don't know. Like, for example, like I was looking on my want list, like the 12-13 score black parallel. Impossible to find, right? Like that year, the black was only on a certain section of the card. Very hard to see. It would be very easy to miss in, a base run if someone's like, sorting through base and they just put it aside. So a card like that is like impossible to find. But, would I like to snap my fingers and get it tomorrow? Sure. But, the day that I finally get that card, hopefully, will be awesome. And it's just, it's the legend has grown all these years. And that's what makes collecting, more specifically player collecting, from my standpoint, is what makes it so exciting. And I can go through countless cards where, the origin stories are just awesome. The story behind it is cool. Either the origin story, I should say, of how this card came to be, or the acquisition story. That's kind of where more I'm getting at. The acquisition story is more, hey, yeah, sometimes it's transactional, but other times it's, okay, there was a real hunt behind it. And, or you find a guy, where it is, who has the card, and it's just kind of grinding them down after the years. And then finally they agree to sell you the card or trade you the card if they need something specific, is just part of the story. So for me, I would not snap my fingers and have the collection kind of complete. While it would be amazing to have all these cards, especially in person, to check them out, or especially one of ones. Like imagine you can have all the one of ones tomorrow. Like that would be insane. Like awesome. Like so cool. Most of it's printing plates, but I like printing plates. And like all those one of ones that maybe you've never seen a copy of, or you know who has one. You snap your fingers, tomorrow you have them. That would be awesome. But I think it would kind of cheapen them a little bit, over the years, especially if you to receive them all at one time. Anyway, I sound like a broken record, but that's my kind of bit. And Eric, what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, well, I'll start off saying that there are people on both sides of the fence in the chat. So Josh would gladly take all the missing cards.
All those Horton cards, and yeah,
totally get it. And then on the flip side, Al is in your camp, Aaron, of opting to the go for the hunt, and as he said, the joy of the discovery when you find those elusive cards outweighs the convenience factor.
Yeah.
So
it would be a massive rush. It would be a massive rush.
Yeah. Like, well, especially, I mean, imagine for Al, if whatever the number is, like 1,000 Aginla cards, boom.
I I've never done, like, I shouldn't say this on the pod, but I'm going to say it anyway. But like, I've never done like hard, like drugs or anything like that, but I can imagine that's what it would feel like. I'm not sure if I can say that, but like, that's what it would feel like getting, for Al's point, like 1,000 Aginla cards. I don't know how many is on your want list, Al, but if you can pull that up. But imagine getting all that tomorrow. Like the high from that would be like, any mail day after that would feel terrible. It would feel terrible. So, I mean, I guess you wouldn't have mail days after that, because then your collection would be done. But I'm just, assuming, one player collection at a time. Or I guess, if you could choose to do it one time, which collection would you choose if you were going to do that? Yeah, just over 2,000 again, the cards that you need. It's just crazy. So, I mean, yeah, it would be the high of a lifetime. But then you're done collecting. At least for me, I'd be pretty much done collecting, which would be really sad. So I wouldn't do it. No way. It'd be tempting, but no, I wouldn't do it.
So for my answer, and I'll throw up this comment from Bernie too. I think there is a little bit of nuance with it for me, as far as like what it actually is. So I know for you, Enroth is your collection. Yes, you collect cards of other guys and stuff, but you're not, going for completionism with Brodeur or Fleury or whoever, so you would, even if you did snap your fingers, you have every Enroth card, there would still be, a collecting outlet for you of,
I
okay,
would collect. I guess I'm being dramatic. I'd still collect, of course, but yeah, it would just be different.
but yeah, because that's like, a tangible goal that you're working toward is to have every Enroth
Yeah,
card. So yeah, but for me, I think it almost kind of depends on what collection you're talking about. Like if we're looking at like you said with sets, if I could snap my fingers and my 0304 project would be done, I would do it.
makes
That
sense.
wouldn't be too hard of a decision, because it's like, well, like my goal is to get all those cards. And while some are going to be very difficult, it is still, feasible. There's not any one of ones in that project or, anything like that. So, it's more of a kind of a when than an if type of thing. And, so in that sense, it's like, yeah, like if I could achieve that, like I would do that because I plan on doing it one day and it's feasible one day. So, I would just like to have that done. But then, when you think of player collecting, I think it could be a little bit different. And even just like player to player for me, you look at, Jalmerson is probably not really going to get any more cards at this point. He had stuff in Blackhawk Centennial this year. But, he's probably not really going to get any more cards beyond that at this point. Um, maybe like a random appearance as a legend in a product or something. But
SHL, they did Legends
it's
this
true.
past year in season or series 1 and 2. They did Legends, so you never know. He could make an appearance in the Legends set. I wouldn't put it past
Yeah,
anybody. That'd be cool.
it could happen. But point being, and like with Enroth, like it's pretty much done. There's
Pretty much done.
probably not going to be too much more coming out. So yeah, it's like, would I do it for Jalmerson? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
It's tough.
Slavin is a little, that one I kind of go back and forth with my answers for all of them, honestly. I
Okay.
will say I definitely would not snap my fingers and all of them be done.
Okay. Would you
'Cause
do sections like just one of ones and
well, I
then
mean,
pick
like
away?
like if I was to snap my fingers for Jalmerson, then I would not want to for Slavin.
Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry.
I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
I
yeah.
would still want something to be working toward, like you're
Yeah.
saying. Um, so, I could see myself, choosing, this or that. Um, but just across the board, like all of my
All your
collections,
collections?
I wouldn't want to do that.
Right. I think we should preface this as like, yeah, like if you were to do it, we asked this question, would you snap your fingers and you have all the cards you need? I guess we would say, okay, if you were to say yes, then you can only choose one of your collections, assuming you collect a couple different things. And then if you want to respond in the comments or, write to us afterwards, would you do it yes or no? If yes, it would be for my XYZ collection and why.
Mhm.
I just love hearing from collectors about that stuff.
Yeah. So it's definitely a very interesting thing to think about. And even like when you first brought that up, whatever, a week and a half ago,
Yeah,
I kind of had like a quick answer come in my head, but even more just like thinking about it, even during this conversation right now, it's like,
yeah,
well, I don't know.
yeah. That's why I'm like, we got to talk about this. One, it's been a while since we've done a topic, and two, it's just a like a mind bender of a question. It's just it's really interesting to think about, and like I think it like would we have another answer if we were inexperienced collectors if you asked me, like I joined the boards, the forums back in like 2010 2011ish, and I remember seeing Enroth collectors on there and being so because I'm a teenager, right? Just being so jealous and being like, oh man, like I feel I can't be friends with this guy, he's my enemy, right? And just having that stupid attitude, right? But if you ask me that question, then I would be like, oh yeah, just I want all the cards and of this guy I'm chasing for sure. I'll snap my fingers tomorrow. But as a more experienced collector, and there's some cards like the one I talked about, the Premier signings, that one is from 09-10, and I'm still looking for it, right? Like, but I've added a couple cards like that over the years where I just hadn't seen for years, and then finally, climbed that mountain and finally found it. And that to me is what collecting is all about. And I think as the years go by, I really get that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why my answer is the way it is. If you asked me this, 15 years ago, I would have said, oh yeah, for sure, I'll do it. No problem. Enroth collector, whatever. Cool. Like, I want all the cards, definitely. But now I'm like, no, I wouldn't do. I want to, if that makes sense. But would I do it? No way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it makes these cards that I've gathered that much more meaningful, because it was just it was that hunt for them. And then the cards that I will receive in the future, hopefully, it just makes that story that much cooler. So anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about, like, for you specifically, like, when you have those long, chases after a certain card, it could even be something really cheap
Oh
and
yeah.
not impressive, like the 14-15 MVP gold script.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that.
Like last year, I found that. I think this time last year, I reeled that one into the boat. It was on my want list for over 10 years. It released, like, I think August 2014, and I didn't receive it until like May of 2025. Like, it's crazy. And that card, it doesn't look like much to a lot of people. And some people, I think, like yourself, Eric, you acquired that, quickly after the release. And for me, and other collectors I've seen, they weren't able to do that. And if I snapped my fingers in 2014 and had all the Enroth cards, cool. That card would just be one of many cards.
Mhm.
But now I look at that card and I'm like, no, like, that's not just one of every card out of 100. There's, I don't know how much cards out of 100 in my collection. But when you look at the MVP gold script out of 100 from 14-15, it's like, no, like, here, let me tell you why. And that's not just a regular card. It was a retail exclusive. Like, you don't find this stuff ripped that often. Even if you did, people wouldn't really think twice, of listing this card. People who have it aren't going to list it up for sale, right? And it's just, it came from Walmart and stuff. Like kids weren't going to do anything with it back then, right? So it just makes these cheaper cards that much more fun. And snapping your fingers just wouldn't do that. It would take the meaning out of, like, I don't know what percentage, but like 75% of our cards. It would take the meaning out of it. It would just be, yeah, I received it in a day, just whatever. And of course, the cool patches and stuff like that, the one of ones might be cool, but the other cards will be like, yeah, that's a card from a pack and I got it. It's like, cool. But I don't know, just adding that story to a lot of these cards just make it what they are, if that makes sense. It makes the card what it is,
Yeah. And Josh brings this up. This was an example I was thinking about as well with the
Oh
ultra
yeah,
ice
that one
medallions.
too. Yeah. So that was a little different story. So I did receive, so for those who don't know, a couple years ago, we covered it on the pod, but the 2009-10 ultra medallion out of 25 rookies that year were, there was a whole bunch of them that were redemptions. Enroth was not one of them. He was packed out, presumably, like everyone else. But years go by, and I never saw a copy of that card until I think it was like 2023 or something. And then never saw a copy. Saw a sold listing back in 2011 when the PWCC had that eBay kind of sold listing kind of database, which was awesome. I wish it still existed, but doesn't. But I wish it did, because it was just awesome. Anyway, so I looked through again. If you want to be sad, I think we spent like a whole day being sad. Like I think we were on the pod or after one of our episodes, we just went through. We typed in our player and looked through sold listings of cards we didn't have, that sold, that we knew about sold, that we didn't know sold, just because we had that database of information. And it was like, this is terrible. I'm so sad right now. Look at that awesome card. And so that was partially what happened, where I saw a sold listing of the 0910 Ice Medallion cards out of 25. It was I think it was like the 3 of 25, and there was no picture on this listing for whatever reason. And so I'm like, okay, like it says one sold. I've never seen a copy, but it says one sold. It was the only copy. It sold for like 70, 80 US dollars back in 2011, which is crazy even for that time. Just because I guess one never surfaced. Found out why, because in 2023 or whatever it was, 21 copies, 21 of the 25 surfaced in a single auction. It was, I hope my voice getting close to the mic added dramatic effect, because it was dramatic. And I remember sending it to Eric, being like, what is this? This is crazy, man. This is like insane. And then then you were like, you have to do everything you can to get that. And originally, and I did get it. I put a max bid that nobody will touch. And I forget what I got it for. I think it was like $40 or something for like 21 of these cards out of 25 that have never surfaced in like forever. Like, I thought they didn't exist. It was just nuts. Turns out they were allegedly kind of backdoored out of Upper Deck and released all in one shot, or picked up through a lot from this bulk buyer who had a connection with Upper Deck. Not current Upper Deck, just to be fair, just to people at Upper Deck. Not current Upper Deck, just old Upper Deck back many years ago. Had a connection then, and then picked up these bulk lots at that time and just sat on them, and eventually changed hands into this reseller guy who went through it finally and sold it and ended up in my collection. But yeah, like, just crazy. Like, just I forget where I was going with it, but yeah, just it's unbelievable the stories these cards have. And so in that scenario, okay, I guess I know where Josh was going. So in that scenario, I did receive basically all the cards in one shot. But because I had waited so long, and because of the origin story attached to this lot of cards, it didn't diminish them at all. It almost made them more like mysterious, if that makes sense. So that's a great example though, Josh. I'm surprised you remember that one. Originally, I was going to actually, sounds kind of funny, but originally, because I just wanted one. Like, I was going to get the one and then sell the others off. Not that there's 20 people, 20 individual people who would buy Enroth cards, but maybe there was like a set collector or something, or maybe other, because there are Enroth collectors out there, and or maybe Swedish guys or something. But anyways, but I kept them, and glad I did. But that's a scenario where I did sort of, snap my fingers and receive a whole bulk of cards I wanted, but the story behind that is just crazy. It just makes up for it. It's different. It's different. But I should say, and I'll make this one quick, apology, but there was a scenario where, Craig, an old Enroth collector, did sell me about 20 cards that I needed, all pretty rare, about 20 cards pretty much all at once within like a week or two of each other. And so I did end up with like 20 super rare Enroth cards in a big package. And, to be honest, like, those cards, I mean, they're awesome, and I respected them years later. But in the moment, it was like I didn't appreciate them as much as I should have. And then years later, I went back, like, I'm going back to them now and looking through what I got from Craig and thinking, yeah, like, I haven't seen one since. Or if I did, the price range was just, I couldn't touch it. So it really kind of diminishes what you get because you're so distracted by the big mail day. And then years later, it took me to really appreciate these cards, because in the moment when you receive them all at once, it's like, yeah, they're great, but you don't really appreciate that card out of 5 or something for these other 1-on-1s where, okay, yeah, like, those cards are great, but this card out of 5, like, if I didn't get it then, like, I wouldn't have it today. Mm-hmm. And it really makes you appreciate those cards. So anyway, I'll probably stop talking, but Just
Well,
it's a great topic.
as you were, I was digging back through my phone to find it because I knew I had this image on my phone.
Yeah, like look at that. You made me that image of all of them kind of pieced together from the scans. And yeah, that's 21 of the serial numbered out of 25 for the Ice Medallion rookies of Enroth. So it was funny. I actually shared that image with someone. I think it was just on the article that I wrote about it, and I shared that somewhere. And then I'm like, oh, I captured 21 whales in a single day.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone actually, they brought up a good point, and it fries my brain to this day. They commented back, they're like, actually, you have 4 whales. And I'm like, oh, he's right. 4 more that I don't have to complete the 25 of 25. I have 4 more. The one that sold on eBay years ago, the 3 of 25. And then the it's funny, like they're all sequenced. Like I think it was like 4 of 25 that sold. And so I have 1, but I still need number 2, number 3, and number 4 or whatever. It's just like melts my brain. I can't think of it anymore. It's crazy. 4 more I still need. It's just I can't handle it. It's crazy. So yeah, I guess I have 4 more whales. So if anyone has one of the 4 09 10 Ice Medallion cards of Enroth, please let me know. It's been a long time. So I'm going to end my rant on that. And I'll pose the question to you. Would you snap your fingers and have every card you've ever wanted? Think carefully.
Yes, that's definitely a fun question to think about. So yeah, whoever's listening, feel free to reach out on social media, or if you're listening, as we're doing this live in the chat. But yeah, we'll get back to the mail portion of the episode, and this will be the last thing we do. Yeah, so recently I got a very, very special card in the mail. I'll probably show it first and then we can kind of unpack it. But in a lot of ways, it is a card that does largely speak for itself. Like, it's one of those cards you see and you're like, yep, okay, like that's really nice. But yeah, once I kind of unpack the a little bit more of the context, it hopefully should make you guys appreciate it even more. So normally Aaron is kind of in the dark with what these notable pickups are, but every now and then there is something so big that I'm like, yeah, like I can't keep that from him.
It's hard to keep a card like this under wraps, and I think I want to say agreed, but unofficially officially agreed that I hope that every other big mail that you'd let me in on, because like I can't be in the dark every single mail. I can't. It's killing me. It's killing me. I can't do it. So every other mail day I think would be fair.
We'll see. This one used up quite a bit of credits, so to speak, I would argue. But
I guess so.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'll put it up on the screen, Aaron. You can share your thoughts again too, and then we can kind of unpack the context here. So, without further ado, here it is.
Okay. It's still awesome just seeing it. Like, I know I knew about it, but it's so awesome. Do you want to unpack it first? I mean, it's your card.
Sure.
I guess I'll let you unpack it because you obviously have, like, I'm not going to spoil it. Just the significance of what this card is. Not what this card is. I mean, you can look at it and see what the card is, but what this card is. I get the significance of it is just awesome.
Yeah, so for those who are listening in podcast form, what this is a made-to-order card from President's Choice, so shout out to Dr. Price. It is one of the equipped cards of George Vesna. So, if you guys have been around for any length of time, you know that I'm a sucker for cards that have multiple types of memorabilia on them. One of the first notable sets that I ever went after was the 0304 in the Game Use Signature Series triple memorabilia cards. I just fell in love with the design and loved that those cards featured 3 different types of memorabilia for every player. And yeah, just a super cool concept, looked great, all that. And of course, there's been complete package cards and all kinds of cards like that over the years. But when Dr. Price did these equipped cards, I think these first started coming out back in 2021, I want to say.
Yeah,
Um,
something like that.
it was just a really cool concept that, for essentially for every player that he made, it actually featured 4 different types of memorabilia. You'll see on this card there are 4 memorabilia windows. So that, was just super cool. And then of course having the one jumbo piece is, of course really cool, takes it to the next level kind of. A lot of players in that equipped set, the large piece was a stick piece. That was kind of the norm for those cards. And then you'd oftentimes have, a patch, a glove, a skate, a sock, whatever it might be, to constitute the other pieces. And like I said, I loved the cards. I loved the look of the cards. When they came out, and I picked up the Tony Esposito card back in 2021, right around or pretty much it might have been even like the day of or the day after he passed away, actually. And yeah, got that card in hand. Was like, yeah, like these are great cards. Loved them so much so that when I had Dr. Price make a couple of made to order cards of yours truly, the 2 designs that I had made were the 0304 signature series triple memorabilia and then these equipped cards. And I don't remember when it first popped up, but it's certainly been years at this point that I thought, oh man, like it'd be kind of cool to do a Vesna one of those. But knowing that, well, he only has 3 different types of memorabilia out there. There's the pad, the stick, and the skate. That's all there is. There is no jersey, there's no pants, there's no gloves. So I was like, well, the intention of these cards is 4 different types of memorabilia, so it just doesn't make sense to do it. So kind of didn't really pursue it or really give it too much thought other than just, oh, that would be cool. But shout out to Al. Probably, I don't know when this was, maybe a couple months ago at this point. We were talking about cards and the equipped cards came up, and that kind of made me remember that idea. And so I was like, I'm just going to reach out to Brian and just, see what he thinks. And he was like, "Yeah, like that'd be cool. We can definitely, if I have the stuff to do it, we can do it."
That's the question. That's the
So
question.
yeah, and that proved to be a little bit dicier than originally thought. You guys, if you keep keep up with the cards that Dr. Price has made over the last few years, he's been putting out a lot of stuff with pad memorabilia. Um, but not a whole lot of stick and skate because most of that stuff, um, especially the skate material, a lot of that went to Leaf when he sold in the game. I don't know that they have any stick pieces. Come to think of it, I think he heavily used the stick during the in the game days, and then did keep some of it.
Did he
Uh,
buy back some stick pieces, or maybe
I'm
that
not
was just something,
sure.
or a trade or some, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know at some point he considered doing that. I don't know if that ever happened or not.
Who
But
knows?
anyway, for this card, I was like, yeah, like, let me know if we can do this. So it took him probably maybe close to a week of literally digging through his warehouse, finding all of the memorabilia bags that had Vesna memorabilia in it. Obviously, he knew the top left piece there. You see the pad linen. He knew that wouldn't be a problem because he has that. Um, but even the pad leather piece, having a piece that large, he doesn't really have much or any of those left at that size. I think what he said was, as far as the combination of the size needed to do this and having it be a quality piece, that like that's it. Like that's what it is. And then as far as the stick piece, he found this piece pretty quickly, but I think he was pretty sure that was about it. Like there might be a few more stick pieces kicking around, but he would have to go looking for more. And then the skate piece was the really difficult one. That's what took him a week just to find a skate piece, and said he had to dig through every single Vesna memorabilia bag to find a skate piece. So point being, he's confident that is the last skate piece he had.
That's so interesting. So you're saying, if I can connect the dots, that this would be the last card of this type with these size, pieces of memorabilia, all that stuff, that could ever be created of Vesna.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I guess in theory, he could buy back previously made cards,
but up to this point,
but
more like organic.
Yes. Yeah. Don't think it will ever happen again. So yeah, definitely cool. And I'll zoom in a little bit because the stick and skate pieces in particular are pretty interesting. If you look right here,
what a puck mark,
the bottom left, that is actually, you don't see too many pieces with this, but there are parts of the stick that actually had some ink, like writing on them. So that's actually part of that. Cool. The uncut piece of stick, because the piece was actually originally a little bit larger, but it was cut funny. So that's how it ended up having to be. It still works fine, but there was a little bit more of whatever this letter was that on the original piece would have come off this way. But I mean, still, I know that's what it is. So just being able to have some of that ink on the piece is really awesome, because I did not have a piece that had any of the ink previously. So that kind of checks off a little bit of a box for me as well. And then with the skate piece, what's really cool, is
that an eyelet?
It's a little hard to see, but you can see, yeah, there is kind of like a hole shape here, and then there's the start of another one here.
Yeah. That's
and
awesome.
What that is, through talking with our buddy Jeffrey Griffith, this material would have been kind of like a thicker, harder leather that was actually used on the sole of the skate. So the essentially like kind of the rivets almost that would have attached the blade to the boot would have gone through these holes.
So is it like on the underside of the skate?
Correct.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. I just assumed eyelet, where the little steel things would pop out, but that's even more interesting. I had no idea. Like each piece, when you look at them, I'm sure you'll go, and look at the other ones, but the stick piece has something unique going on with it. The skate piece is super unique. And then the linen piece has that thread poking out there. Yeah. And then the actual pad review itself has that awesome stitching. It's probably the longest piece of stitching I've seen. And I think it has some puck marks there, if I'm looking at it correctly.
Yeah, kind of over here,
over there, and then maybe a little bit over there. But just awesome. Like each one is, just the sheer, size of this piece and the others around it, but just each piece individually is quite amazing. And the fact that it's the last of this grouping that can be newly created without sacrificing anything. Like this is the last, I guess, fresh card, if that makes sense, that can be created organically.
Yep.
Which is extremely significant for those in the Vesna collecting space. It is amazing, and just think, we're a couple years removed from the Vesna collection, which was insanely awesome. And then now here we're sitting with potentially the last card of this, size and significance of this sort of grouping of his memorabilia, which is, it had to run out. I know it's not run out, but it had to run out at some point. And I think we're seeing kind of glimpses of that, which is sad, but honestly, it's inevitable. And it just makes those other Vesna pieces that much more, I don't want to speak on value, but more valuable, and also just more significant, if that makes any sense. So it's just an amazing piece of history. And yeah, it's amazing. And back to our original point about, snapping our fingers and to have every card that we want on our want list, it would make cards like these impossible, because then we would just have everything, and then we would get bored with collecting, and then it wouldn't spur on these ideas to have cards like this made. It would just be, I have everything else. So it just, I don't know, just to come full circle in a way. Just, it's really amazing. What a fantastic card. Thanks for telling me in advance, so I could think more about it and really kind of grasp what you have here. So that was good to know and think about beforehand. But just seeing it again now, it's amazing. And I really encourage you. I'm sure those will be posted up on socials very soon. So if you're listening on the podcast, be sure to check that out for sure. It's an incredible card.
Yeah, and of course there will still be more, pad linen and pad leather cards made. There's still more of that. Not a massive amount, but there is still more of that. But yeah, to your point, kind of having it all there, and especially
exactly,
the skate and the stick, you're probably not going to see many, if any, more new cards ever made with those materials. So yeah, super cool. And then I also like requesting that he hand signs cards on the back, and he did that with gold ink on this card.
I like that it's gold. I've never seen his signature in gold before, so it's good on a card like this. And the text on the back is also gold, so that's really cool. Nice touch there.
Yeah, so some nice touches, and I thought that the iconic rookie photo worked really well on this card. So obviously just a stunning card, and in person is super cool. I actually take this off, and I have it here right next to me, but the stick and the skate pieces actually like pop really far out of the card.
Wondering if you're going to show that, and please try and post it on social media, like that one photo you showed me of the actual, like that. It sticks out so much. That's crazy. Yeah. That's typical. Like, I know it's also because the memorabilia is so amazing, but that's typical sort of in the game fashion, like those memorabilia pieces that would just stick out of the card like crazy. Yeah. It's awesome. For the just such a nice card, just seeing sort of in person like that. Yeah, amazing.
Yep.
So do you have any of those card display things, those little plastic things,
the little stands? I do.
Stands. I'm sure it is right at home there on your desk. Hopefully standing up, but yeah, amazing. Yeah, amazing. With all the other Vesna insanity that you have, it's amazing. So
yeah, so
great card.
Explain, and then this is kind of another layer to it. Explain the scarcity of the memorabilia and stuff, but what a lot of people might not realize is it's very uncommon for all three of the memorabilia types to be on the same card. So you will see there are cards that are stick and skate, or whatever it might be, but to have all three memorabilia types on the same card is extremely uncommon. There in theory could be cards that I'm not aware of, but to the best of my knowledge, this is the 7th card ever made that has all three of them on there. Of course, I did have one made with the 0304 design I talked about earlier. So outside of those two cards, there's only 5 others out there. And what specifically is also really unique about this equipped card is, of the 7, the other 6 are all exclusively using pieces that are the size of these top 3. So 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch pieces for all of the types of memorabilia on all of the other 6 cards. Well, of course, this one has the big pad piece. So it's the only one of the 7 that has a piece larger than 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. So kind of just another, scarcity element to it, but again, something that also takes it to another level as well.
Fantastic. I love the breakdown. I love the, just the show of how significant this card really is, both for what it is and what these memorabilia pieces mean. It's really great. Yeah, Al makes a great point. The rarity of the memorabilia is mind-boggling. Definitely is. So I would agree. And yes, a great story behind this card. So amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of those cards, like, how much can you really say about it? But yeah, and I know Brian really enjoyed working on this and just knowing, obviously he understands the significance of all the stuff that I was explaining there. And yeah, obviously I can't imagine being, in charge of like actually putting something like this together, he and his production team. But I'm sure, on their end, something like this is probably a little bit more special to make than just your, run of the mill stuff that he's used to making more regularly. So yeah, I know he had a great time working on it. And yeah, I was really, really happy with how it turned out. So definitely, yeah, one of those cards. Um, every now and then, at least for me, I'll get a card where it's almost like humbling to own it in a way, and I feel like this one definitely fits into that category.
I would agree 100%. Yeah, thanks for sharing with me and everyone else. It's fantastic. So that's a great way to wrap it up with a true piece of history.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. So yeah, glad to show that one off. And yeah, I won't ramble on it too much more. But yeah, definitely a really cool card. And scans are great and everything, but I think you guys could tell, even just kind of seeing the 3D aspect of it and stuff is just super cool in person. So yeah, maybe Aaron, if we ever actually meet in person one day, maybe I'll try to bring some of this stuff so you can enjoy some of it in person.
Like, I wouldn't want you to risk it if you're bringing stuff, to the expo, which is, where we would meet. But I'm just glad I got to have the, that one Vesna card.
It's true. The V16.
The V16 was just incredible. Just having that card in my possession for, a couple days was just amazing. So, yeah, really a piece of history as well. So that's enough for me. I don't need you to bring these cards. Just seeing them on a scan is enough. The fact that you enjoyed is plenty, but I do appreciate the offer. Maybe you can bring some other things that aren't Vesna memorabilia, but yeah, it's okay. Thanks though.
Cool. Or if you ever make your way down here, you're always welcome. So
yes, that's true.
But yeah, so all right, well, we're a little bit long, so we'll wrap it up and leave it at that. So yeah, as always, please be sure to follow us on social media. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Sunrise Cardcast, and on Twitter at Sunrise CC. Please also be sure to subscribe to the show on your podcast platform of choice to make sure you never miss a future episode. Until next time on Sunrise Cardcast, keep collecting those hockey cards.